I've got three priorities for the year ahead. The first one is my budget within, I'm the finance director of the NHS in Scotland, and my total budget is £12 billion. We spend within Scotland, and we're no different from England and the rest of the world, we spend most of that not on health but on illness. So about 11 billion is spent on illness, so treating people once they're unwell. So the challenge we have is how we can get the health message, health improvement, health promotion, and get that to have a higher profile. Simon Stevens touched on that yesterday at the conference. So that involves not just spending on the health service, it involves spending on housing, education, employment, transport infrastructure, justice, etc. And the theme of this year's conference, aligning public sector services and forging a sustainable legacy, is music to my ears, because that's exactly what I'm trying to achieve with that first priority. My second theme is around innovation. So we've done extremely well, and again I'll focus on the Scottish perspective. We've done extremely well over the last 4 or 5 years in terms of delivering efficiency. And efficiency is doing what we do at the moment, but doing it in a more cost-effective way, not in a cheap way. And within Scotland, we've taken £1.7 billion of efficiency gain from the NHS. We've then reinvested that back in the NHS, in new drugs, new technologies, new services. So we've done extremely well with efficiency. There's a lovely quote from Albert Einstein, which is, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always got. So now what we need to do, we need to be more innovative. So we need to be doing things differently. My third presidential theme is around succession planning. I'm coming to the end of my career. I was talking to the students at the conference yesterday around how frustrated I am that I'm coming to the end of my career, because I would love to be in their position, starting a career in the public sector. Because I think the challenges that they are facing, the value that they can add in terms of their technical expertise, in terms of their ability not just to support but drive innovation, is absolute. So using the skill set of accountants, allowing us to achieve our potential in terms of what we can support, what we can deliver in terms of redesigning public services. But more importantly, we tend to have within this country a focus on leaving school, going to university or higher education, further education, and then coming out as graduates and moving into graduate training schemes. I think we're missing an opportunity with school leavers who are perhaps, say, developing later than their peers. So we're developing within Scotland an apprenticeship scheme. We will take on 20 apprenticeships in September. We will give them accountancy training at the AAT level 4. We will give them a 1-year apprenticeship, and they will have a guarantee that they will have a job at the end of that. So those are my three presidential themes. Focus on health, focus on innovation, and focus on succession planning. I think there's two aspects I would like to touch on in response to that. The first is that we have perhaps an over tendency to describe the problem, describe the challenges we face. I think we know the challenges we face. We know that the period of austerity is going to continue going forward. We know the demographic changes that we will be facing going forward. We know that there's an increasing public expectation in terms of the services that we are going to provide. So I think describing the problem, we know what the problem is. I think what we need to look at now is how we can become more innovative. I think some of the examples yesterday in terms of the devolution experience in Scotland, in terms of the public sector reform programme within Scotland, some of the comments this morning from Sir Howard Bernstein around the Devo Mank experience, I think are examples of where we can get that richness of engagement with the key players across the public sector in terms of what innovative work they're doing. I'm also down with the exhibitors. I've spent a lot of time with exhibitors. I've visited most of the exhibitors to date, and there's a lot of innovation taking place there. I think one of the challenges we have is that when we look at financial balance and financial plans, we tend to focus on the level of savings that we're looking to make, whether it's 2% or 3%. But the question I always ask is not how do we achieve 3% savings, but what are we doing with the 97%? And how effectively are we using that? There's a propensity just now to deal with short-termism. So we're trying to deal with the immediate challenges that we have. And yes, we need to do that. But we also need to look at the medium long-term strategy that we have. I think this conference is very useful in terms of just lifting our eyes from the immediacy to look at medium long-term position.